When I was 14, I was trafficked around Manchester. And one of the times I was dumped outside Strangeways. No phone, nothing, freezing cold, just dumped there. They're looking for me because I'm missing. My dad's ringing them saying I've got in this car. Social services are saying we've seen her and she's got bruises up her. So I remember being absolutely scared for my life, and because it's so dodgy there as well, I was just thinking, like, is this a setup? Is someone going to come past in another car and drag me in it? I wouldn't say I'm involved in it like I used to be, do you know? I just thought it was all a bit of fun at the time, and it just got out of hand, I think. Obviously, at the time, I would have said, like, I was all right and stuff, but I was still being groomed. I am wiser now, in some ways. And I've kind of come to the realisation of everything that's happened to me. But I just feel like people still don't get it. Since I did the Sky piece, I've connected with a load of other girls. I'm not the only one it's happened to. And it's still happening. We're all young and we're all living with the effects of this. And some of us haven't even escaped our groomers yet. I've always rode horses from being little. That was my therapy, that's what kept me calm. That was just my thing. So we're going meeting a girl who's just turned 15. She's been being groomed since she was 11. Her mum actually got in touch with my dad from seeing the piece I did for Sky. So that's who we're going to be going meeting today. Zara's story's kind of similar to mine. It's still happening to her, she's still being exploited. Where would you say, like, the exploitation first sort of started for you?
It was like when I was going out with my friends, they was already in it.
What, they was already involved in it and then they kind of introduced you to people, you mean?
Yeah.
And how old was you?
Like 11, when I first started going out with them. They'd just, like, call some men to meet us.
And then that's where it'd just start off?
Yeah, like getting taxis to random places. My mum was driving around and she saw me with these men.
Oh, she was driving around looking for you?
Yeah. And then they just grabbed me and they was like, come with us, I know a place where you can just lay low for a bit. So like this alleyway where they had a little shed.
And then is that where, like, you went and hid from her, basically?
Yeah. That's when I had my first sexual assault.
What did you do? Did you go home that night?
I walked. They just told me I could go.
What, after it had happened, they just said, you can leave now?
Yeah, that's literally what they said. You can go now, you can go home. My behaviour just got really bad after that, like.
Was it like something had changed in you?
Yeah, when I had social workers over, I'd just completely ignore them. I'd walk off. Zara's still struggling to get out of this, even with her mum's support. I was obviously placed into care and secure units to try and keep me safe and keep me away from these men. I'm going to be meeting a girl that's been in a similar situation as me, been put into care, and it's just made us 10 times worse, basically. Do you see your dad?
But not a lot.
Do you not? Who are you closer to, your mum?
Yeah, but I hardly see her because we argue.
Do you proper clash? That's like me and my dad.
There's so many places that said that they wouldn't accept me because of the record of what they've reading.
Same.
But it's like they don't even get to meet you as a person first, they just judge you from
Off paper, like, they'll see that you're violent, this, that and the other, and, like, some of the stuff that I read about me, when I look back now, like, I was made out to be a monster when I wasn't, like, an absolute monster, and, like, that wasn't even the case. I was just a little girl that basically had been through all this stuff, like, crying out for help. I feel like the police as well, they're so quick to give up, and you give them a little bit of attitude or anything and they just put you in that criminal category as well.
They shout at us and say they can't be bothered to be looking for us, they've got other things to do, but they don't get to the bottom line why we're actually going missing, what is going on in these care homes, what is going on behind closed doors, what we've got in our heads. There's no, like, help for us. There's just always, you're naughty, you're in the wrong, why are you running away, you want to go looking for men.
It's just hard, isn't it? It's just been through thick and thin with me, this. I knew I would not be able to get hold of this stuff ever again if I didn't keep this. So this is like a stolen car as well that I was in. With one of the groomers, and I was on his knee driving, and I was like 16 here. I'd never even drove a car in my life.
No, I'm doing it.
Go on.
Go on the wheel.
So there's a video here of me in a hotel just off my face on drugs. But I was 14 here, this is all before I went into care. This was when I was properly going missing for weeks on end. There's no certain way a groomed child looks. I had a good childhood, and it still happened to me.
That's blue!
My mum and dad were together, we lived in like a middle-class, normal family home.
He's coming to my birthday.
I went to private school. I always kind of got what I wanted as a kid. I remember Christmases. Just everything was normal. There wasn't really anything bad I could say about my childhood.
No, I haven't read it yet.
Up until obviously my mum and dad split up. When I went into year 7 in high school, my dad bought me a horse. I spent all the time at the horse, like that was my life. I think it was about year 8 I got to, and I started playing up in school, nothing major, like I'd never swore at a teacher or anything, but then I think it was when I'd got diagnosed with ADHD, like school kind of didn't want me there anymore. This is where it all went downhill from this point. I was jumped on this bit of grass here. This is where I was like on the floor, they were kicking me and stuff, and then one of the lads grabbed me up off the floor and he took me over to this railing of the fence here, and I thought he'd come to help me, and he pulled up my top and put a knife to me, and then lads from behind set me on fire, and like my hood, the fur on my hood, I could like smell it burning in my hair and stuff. They arrested these people, told them that I'm now a grass, and then let them back out, so then the repercussions were just worse than ever then. So for a while I kind of like took the bullying off them, and I put up with it because I just thought it's better to be friends with these people than enemies, yeah. My best friend at the time, she had a boyfriend who was like the main ringleader of this gang. And one night I was staying at my friend's and I walked down her lane to go and buy a weed off this guy, and he just like grabbed me, dragged me into the bushes and raped me, and like I remember cars coming past. I could literally see cars coming past, and like this wasn't hidden in the bushes, this was like on a main road in some like trees. And I don't even know what I was thinking at the time or whatever, but obviously I was absolutely terrified of him, so I knew like I just had to let it happen, and that it'd be over and I could go back. And then when it was over, I remember him just throwing the weed at me, going, "You don't tell nobody about this." I think at this point my head just went like I was just a different person now.
I went to a very small Church of England primary school in Peckham. I lived with my mum and my dad and my 6 brothers and sisters. Not the best, as obviously we don't have everything, but mum tried to give us the best. I was raped when I was a little girl, and they said that I had to be taken away from my mum, obviously, as it was a very high risk for me to stay in that borough with the person that was there. I was told, obviously, once they'd gone to prison and it was over, I'd be able to come back to mum. Mum come home and told me that I'd have to move away for a little while, but it wasn't bye, it was I'll see you soon. So she helped me pack a little suitcase. When we got to Euston, I refused to move as I didn't want to go to care, and it kind of hit me hard that obviously I was leaving London for good this time and I wasn't going to see my family again. I'd just literally been raped, I think about 3 weeks prior to this, so my emotions were really all over the place, and I just wanted my mum to give me a cuddle and say it'll be okay.
With the groomers, there's no certain way they look, there's no certain way they act. It can be any skin colour, any age of a groomer, any background. You just don't see them coming.
A girl I went to school with, like a nice girl, I ended up getting introduced to her sister because she'd been raped, and she said, look, my sister's been through similar stuff you've been through. I think it'd be good that you talk to her. Me and Layla just grew really close from there. She was like my sister, she was like my best friend. Like, it's like I found a person with all in one. Like, she'd protect me. We'd go back to hers, get ready, do our makeup. Next day, same thing. Like, we both didn't work. She'd always pay for me. She was like my mum, like, she looked after me. And then I think it was like probably a few months later, things started to change. I knew that she could be crazy on drugs and that she'd sleep around with people, so I started noticing things. And I feel like that's how she kind of introduced it in. So she didn't ask me to do anything, but she'd let me witness her doing stuff. So this is where I'd be brought with the girl who groomed me, and we'd go into the hotel, have a few drinks or whatever, and then men had come into the hotel.
How much older than you was she?
5 years older than me when I was 14. I just remember being like off my face on drugs, being passed out and waking up. Another guy in the room, and he was having sex with the girl I was with next to me on the bed. And I don't even know how he got in there, how long he'd been there, how long I'd been asleep or anything. I just remember waking up and seeing him with her. I remember the first time that something ever happened. 2 guys coming with like condoms, vodka, like Cali packs, cocaine. But then this time, she went in the bathroom and had sex with the guy, and she left me alone with this guy, and it was just really awkward, where all the other times, like, if guys went near me, she'd kind of be like, leave her alone, like, and make it out like that she was protecting me, and this time she'd left me. And I remember her being in the bathroom for about 40 minutes, and she come out of the bathroom and she just said, she started laughing, you know, like off her head on drugs, and she went, you still sat next to him, you still haven't gone near each other. And then like, she went in the bathroom again, and obviously that made it clear what she wanted me to do then. And then I just remember being left alone with this like grown man, and like, I don't even remember the night really. I just remember waking up in the middle of the night to him next to me, Layla in one bed with the other guy, condoms that are open on the floor and stuff, and I just, like, I think I was still on drugs as well, so my head was just going, I just couldn't comprehend like what had even gone on. The lads went, and as they were going, I just seen them give her a load of cash. And I think that was like the point for me, where I was just too far in it. I'd not realised what had been going on for all these months, and now she was kind of like prostituting me out pretty much.
When we would go out with our staff, we would see kids our age playing on their own without staff, and we wouldn't like that. So we used to decide to go out and obviously run away. We actually hitchhiked, so we got in men's cars, and it was quite dangerous. The men could have took us anywhere around the country, but we decided to get in their cars to be able to get away from these carers. They would have sex with us and tell us that they loved us and that they would marry us and things like this, and make us think that they were our friends, when really they weren't. They were much older, and they have no interest in girls like us. They're all different colours and of all different ethnicities, so I don't think that everyone should say our target is Muslim men or Arab men that are obviously doing all the rapes. There is so many people out there that is raping girls. It is not just Arab people. It is white, it is black people, it is people of all race that are doing this, because I personally experienced it. I don't really come here a lot. It's still a bit overwhelming. And when you look at like all the blocks and things where you don't know exactly where it was, it's a bit like nerve-wracking. Imagine like they saw you or they remembered you or something. We were locked in a house for nearly a week with these men that wouldn't let us go. And they were basically doing sexual stuff to us that we didn't give consent to. It was somewhere like this area. I don't know if this is it certain, but it looks like it to me. You can't just say, right, I'm going home today. There's no home. They know you ain't got no home because you told them you're from care. Once they've given you something, you always owe them something back in return. So it's like, well, hang on a minute, I gave you alcohol, or I gave you weed, or I let you stay here. You ain't going nowhere. Like, where's the payback here? Daily, they would obviously rape us. It was one of them, obviously it was multiple of them, and you couldn't really say, no, you can't do nothing because you can die in that house, and you don't know if you're ever going to come out of that house anyway, so you just have to do what they tell you to do to be able to survive, really. There's been so many people that I've had sex with and I haven't even opened my eyes because they're the most horrors people ever, and I don't even want to look at them. I even got offered once that you can put a bag over their head if you don't want to see what they're like when they're having sex. No, that's not what I want to do. I just want to close my eyes.
I remember being a kid and it was like, who could have the most followers? I'd follow people, so they'd follow me, and then I'd unfollow them, you know, just so I looked like cool like my other friends. These dirty men knew I was 14, and they'd be messaging me and trying to get me to, like, go out with them or pick me up. But then once they've got your Snapchat, even if I block them, they know that they can go and add me off another account. I made new accounts, I went private, but they would find me again all the time, constantly.
I was picked up by one of the men and he drove here. We were talking for a while and then he started asking weird questions, like sexual questions. And then he was like forcing me to do sexual stuff. After that, he like grabbed my neck and strangled me until like everything went black. And then he started threatening, saying he could dig a hole, bury me here. A lot of the threats I would get sent would be on Snapchat and then it'd disappear. I couldn't escape it, like, it wasn't just one man, like, there was a lot of different men. No one was really helping. Like, people were saying they were concerned and they were worried. They'd say, like, oh, well, just block the numbers or block their social media, but, like, it wasn't that easy. Like, if you block them, they'd ring off another number, or you'd be constantly scared what's going to happen next. There was one weekend, and I think it must have been, like, near to 100 men had just added me on Snapchat, and it was all, like, they've added me by number, they've added me by username, so, like, someone's given them my details.
How many men would you say was adding you in let's say, a week?
I'd say at least over, like, 200. My phone, like, there would be points where my phone would glitch.
And what, were these adding you on Snapchat then?
Yeah.
So were some of these men that you didn't know as well?
Yeah, like, random men, like, from different countries and that.
And do you think that these men were adding you from the men that you lived in? Do you know the men you were meeting and stuff?
Yeah. Because when the men would post pictures of me, they'd tag me.
And what would these, like, men say to you?
They'd just add me, like, oh, you're so pretty, like, where are you from, where do you live? Do you want me to come pick you up?
Like trying to get you in bed, basically.
Yeah, at 10 they'd message me, oh, you're so pretty. Then at like 3 in the morning, oh, show me your boobs, show me. Do you know what I mean?
I wanted to know what the police's point of view was on this.
I was going to say as well, so like, the grooming gangs in Manchester...
Yeah.
They're still getting away with this, and they're going to keep getting away with it, and they're going to keep doing it as well.
Loads of people know stuff from 20 years ago and stuff, but I'm talking like now. What do you think about like grooming and rape gangs in Manchester? Are they still here?
So I think it would be fair to say that there are. I think it's changed slightly, Scarlett, in respect of the offending. What we are seeing more is more online offending. So whereas 20 years ago, as you say, there was what we thought were gangs operating together, we're now seeing more online, people doing it individually. Whether there is an association with people, I would imagine there is, but the nature of the offending definitely seems to have gone online as opposed to more in takeaways, in town centres, and places like that. It feels like that. That's certainly more of the reports that we're getting.
The police, they used to say to me that they couldn't use evidence, you know, Snapchat, like it's not as reliable. And that was a massive problem for me, you know, like trying to get anyone charged and stuff.
Yeah, Snapchat is really hard. I mean, you'll know more than I do, but as soon as you put the messages on, they disappear. So it's only when something then happens that it gets reported to us, and it's then too late.
Yeah.
But the Online Safety Act is something that's coming that we are really trying to push these people that are in charge of the platforms to actually take some responsibility and help us, because there's only so much that the police can do around the technology, and we really need people in charge of them, of the platforms, to help us and to maybe put some restrictions in, which I know they're working really hard to do.
You know, I'm supposed to be going to Snapchat HQ because one of my accounts that I've actually got, it's got basically it can back up where I've been taken.
Right.
And one of the groomers actually changed the password on this Snapchat before he went to jail. So like I'm arguing now with Snapchat, how can't you get onto this account? I've got ID. Like this is so much evidence for me. So like I'm gonna try and go to Snapchat and
that is brilliant.
Speak to them, yeah. So I'm at Snapchat today to try and get some answers from this company of why they can't retrieve my account that a groomer took off me. I would love to speak to them and see if I could retrieve my old account, but I just don't think they'll be willing to do that. So they agreed to meet me off camera, and then I managed to get access to the Snapchat account that I've not been on to for 3 years, since 2022. And then we've come to a hotel just to look through it because we didn't really know what'd be on it. So this is like towards the end of my grooming. So this is doing like balloons in the car. If you look at the end of this video, I had all self-harm up my arm. Like all there up my arm. All this stuff that I've got, it basically just confirms what I've been saying now. And people who have denied doing stuff to me or being with me or not even knowing me or whatever, it confirms that they did. And like it is true, I've got actual footage of it now, I've got evidence of it. When I was being stalked and harassed by one of the men, he sent a letter through my dad's door at like, I think it was 3, 4 in the morning. He come with a balaclava on. This is the letter that man sent to my dad's house. So the first thing it says is, here's some stuff you need to know about your daughter, Scarlett. So that's what it started with. And then there was just vile things in there. If there's sexual exploitation, there's going to be a drugs criminal side of it. You wouldn't have a normal guy who works at the doctors do this to you, would you? Like the drug dealers. That's my room. The black window here. I was the only girl in this whole care home. There was 4 bedrooms, all with guys. All the members of staff were guys. I was literally the only girl in this place. This is where I lived for about 6, 7 months. This is where I met one of the groomers outside here. I just went for a split with him as a one-off, and then obviously our friendship grew, and over time it wasn't even a friendship, and then that's when the bad stuff started happening. He used to take me to Rochdale to deal drugs, cut up drugs with him, and I would go missing for days on end, or if not weeks on end. Nothing's really changed, like the layout of it, so it feels weird. It's like I'm reliving everything that I went through when I was here. Like, it is scary, don't get me wrong. So from like 8 in the morning till 11, sometimes through the night, I'd be with a guy who'd be drug dealing, selling crack and heroin, and he'd be getting me to like hand it out from the window or adding up the money. It was just like, I was like the bait to them. If I wasn't handing the drugs, I'd be collecting the money, so they'd make me play my part in it. So then, obviously, if they got pulled by the police, they'd probably blame it on me.
It doesn't feel nice being back here. Like, when I walked in, it still smells the same, it still feels the same. I came here for the first time with 2 men. It was strange, it was a bizarre setup. So like, in the living room bit, there was like young girls sat there. There was a lot of men from different backgrounds, and they were giving all the young girls, including me, drugs to take, and it was sort of, you couldn't say no to the drugs. You'd be picked to go with a man and be raped in the bedroom and then come back out as if nothing had happened, take more drugs, and then the next man would pick you, and that would just continue. The buzzer was ringing constantly. People coming to buy drugs, or people coming to pick a girl that they wanted to rape. You can't just like, you can't just leave. You're in it. You know what's going on, like. It's a criminal organisation. You know too much, so you have to go back to protect yourself. I know what's happened behind these walls, like when people are just living in here, not knowing what's going on above them or below them. If I was ever getting moved to a different property, I was used to take drugs from A to B, because I think a little 14-year-old girl going into a block of flats just looks like she's going home to her mum, whereas men with backpacks on full of drugs looks a bit more suspicious. So I had to take them from A to B and deliver them to different properties for other men to sell, from like weed to crack and heroin and everything in between. I'd ring the buzzer with my little backpack on, get let in, go upstairs and hand it over, and stay there to get raped by a few more people.
I suppose until you come out of that world a bit that you look back and you think, that's a very dangerous world to be living in. At the time, I don't see it as dangerous, I see it as fun, it's exciting, and we're running around living life basically as young girls. I ran from the carers and I ran to the train station and got on the train. I got off in a little village. There was a man standing there Initially, I thought I should ask him for some help. He said, obviously, I could stay at his house, and I explained to him I'm trying to meet my other friend, Jade. He gave me his door keys, which we thought was great at the time, because who the hell would give us their door keys? We're just young. So we went back to his house and we bought alcohol, and we were having a right laugh in there. And then he would come home from work, and that night he decided to throw a party. He said it was a shisha party, but over 45 men turned up. We literally sat there all night, having laughs, having jokes, we were drinking. We had no clothes on because they said we should wear no clothes. So we didn't have no clothes on. That next day, I woke up, I was naked, next to my friend Jade, both of us on the floor. The second thing, when we looked down, we actually had, I don't know if it's cum or gunk or something all over us by our private parts. And that's when I realised something had gone seriously wrong here within the couple of hours of whatever he's given me has knocked us out, and now this has happened.
At first it was just, you know, drinks flowing, try a bit of MD, they put it in your drink and stuff. It was just a party vibe at first. It was just you and two other men, or you and one other girl and two other men, but then they'd invite more around when you get more drunk. I ended up having a spliff and it completely knocked me sideways. I couldn't even move. And I just remember, sorry, I'm gonna cry. So all I can really remember is just, you know, coming into conscious and going out of conscious with different men on top of me. And because I was just so weak and so under the influence of drugs and alcohol, I didn't even have the energy to move or scream. When I actually stood my ground and said no, and I was knocked back to the ground and said, "Shut up, bitch, you listen to me," like, that's the moment I realised that I can't say no anymore. My mother made numerous reports. You know, she had my location and nothing was getting done about it. She was turned away because she had my location. I wasn't missing, even though I was 15 in Rochdale. It just didn't make sense.
So because your mum essentially knew where you was, they were saying that you wasn't missing when you was 15?
Yeah.
That's like me as well. What point would you say it was where you got to where you knew you needed help?
I was gang raped, and at that point I knew that I couldn't continue anymore. So I went to my social worker, who then informed the police. The police wanted to open an investigation, but I initially said no at first because I wasn't ready to come out and tell my story at that point. My phone was seized for evidence purposes. And then after saying that I didn't want to, you know, participate in the investigation and waiting for my phone to come back, my phone was destroyed. And I didn't have a reason for ages. And then the reason came back because it was child pornography of myself. Because I was under 18 years old, I wasn't allowed indecent images of myself on my own phone, so it was destroyed.
So you never got this phone back on?
No.
We was criminalised, we was punished for what had happened to us. We were put in secure units and it was supposed to keep us safe. And these men walked free around the streets while we was locked up like murderers.
The first secure unit I went to, I was obviously very young, I was quite nervous. When I was walking through, everyone was banging on the windows. And I got onto the unit and obviously I introduced myself to people and they showed me my little room where I was staying. It's basically like a cell. It was quite scary, not very nice. The one I was put in, it was not just for care kids, so there was people in there that have actually murdered people, and you have to live next to them.
I feel like it just changes the game completely. It just turns you into a worse, if anything, and then when you come out, you kind of go crazy off the rails because you've been locked up for so long, and they don't, like, put you back into society like normally, like, they just throw you back in the deep end. And then these men that did all this stuff to us, they were never arrested either.
No, it's true, and nothing ever happens to them, and we have to be taken away from our families and locked away, and then they can just walk the streets and carry on with their life.
Obviously, I'd been in care, and then I was just dumped straight back onto the streets, and so then it was just even worse the second time round.
I'd wake up with really bad bruises and I don't have a clue where they come from. But that's how I knew I'd been raped sometimes as well, because the bruises would go right up my leg. I remember one time like scrubbing myself that much in the back because I just felt like pure filth. My life became chaotic. I was around weapons, drugs, stolen cars, a simple like request, and I would just flip.
It's so lovely when you know we're alive.
I think I got to that point and I just thought, I will end up dead. I will actually end up dead. I think it's really good that it's finally out, what's going on. These protests, like, I do appreciate it from a survivor's point of view, that people are bringing light to these situations. But I do think that some people do jump on the bandwagon and kind of use us girls to their own agenda. This has been so covered up for so long that, for me, I'd do whatever it takes to get acknowledgement for what's happened to us. So you'll see on the news and stuff about like Pakistani grooming gangs. What's your views on what ethnicity these grooming gangs are? Do you think it doesn't matter, or do you think it is one ethnicity?
I think it could be anyone, but I think a lot of the Pakistani grooming, they sort of work together, whereas...
You mean it's like more organised crime?
I've been groomed by white British, but they normally work alone rather than in a group.
For me, barring 2 people, it was all of an Asian ethnicity. So I'm not being racist, I'm just trying to say facts about what happened to me. So if it was a white man, I would say.
Yeah, like it was sort of mainly Asian that were...
Targeting you?
Yeah, and like working together, or they'd pass you on to their friend or something.
Because not everyone's the same, obviously. We get people that are white British and they're nasty people, so we can't just target the whole culture because 1 or 2 people's doing something wrong, so no.
Do you think that, obviously with this inquiry, it'll go to Parliament and to people in the council and stuff, do you think they actually understand what's gone on to all those girls?
No, I don't think they understand at all, because until you've lived it and experienced it, you're never going to understand, like, the severity of it. You're never going to understand how it makes you feel, how you alter your life to overcome it.
Even though what happened to me was really bad and horrendous and I don't wish it upon anyone, it's made me who I am today. I do think that I'm vulnerable in some ways still, but I just think that I'm more educated on this kind of stuff now.
My mum was saying, oh, you're being groomed, exploited, and I just didn't take any notice. I was like, I'm not though.
Like with my dad, I'd basically be like picking knives up, and I mean, there was one point where I'd broke my dad's fingers, and like I'd be calling the police on my dad sometimes, saying like he won't let me out of the house and stuff.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, at the time, like I did absolutely hate him, do you know, like now, it's only now that I realise why he did these things to keep me in and keep me safe. But would you like retaliate to your mum? Would you ever get violent towards your mum sometimes?
Yeah, 100%. I'd hit her, we'd be in fights, I'd put knives up to her. There'd be times where I'd like mark myself and call the police to say my mum just hit me.
That is me, yeah. Like I'd do stuff like that. So my dad would like restrain me, you know, to stop me leaving the house, or he'd lock the doors or whatever, and I'd end up like basically ringing the police saying he's just done this to me, and like try and get my dad arrested, so I can go back out. Like that's how desperate the times got sometimes, you know, for me to go back out. Because that was this thing with me and my dad, like I thought I was this dead grown-up girl as well, like that could look after myself and stuff, and I didn't really see anything wrong what I was doing either, because I didn't know I was being groomed. Zara and her mum, I just feel awful towards them. I feel that they've been let down. It does upset me and it brings back memories. So I've been all over the country meeting other survivors, and I want to know how this has been allowed to happen. The Home Secretary won't do an interview with me. But I've come back to Manchester where this all started for me. And the man here with the most clout is the Mayor, Andy Burnham, who has agreed to meet me. Where's the support? What, like, we've talked, can I write it down? Yeah. You're now aware. I put you're now aware of the grooming gangs in Manchester. What's the next steps now to fix this problem? What's going to be offered to victims and survivors from the past? No, like, I really appreciate him obviously going out of his way and stuff to meet me, but I think that's the least he could do, considering what's happened to all the girls across Manchester. It is me.
Hi, Scarlett. How are you? Nice to see you. Hi, bro. I just wanted to...
It is a bit hot. It's all right, though.
Yeah.
Hi, you're all right?
Yeah, lovely to see you.
Nice to see you. You're all right?
Okay,
Yeah, fine. Yeah, I'm all right. I know, sorry, my hands are a bit sweaty.
You look great.
Thank you. So, Oldham, Rochdale and Tameside obviously have issues, and I know Bury does as well. Why does there seem to be so many paedophile gangs in Manchester, do you think?
It's because this issue is just a huge issue in society. I'm afraid in the online kind of era, exploitation is happening everywhere, in every place. I know I'm not complacent. When I came in as mayor, I have to be honest with you and say Greater Manchester Police simply did not have a capability
Back then.
to deal with this. GMP didn't just have a capability, they had the wrong culture as well, because as you know, there would be a way of dismissing victims and not...
The mindset was wrong.
Yeah, the mindset was completely wrong.
So Snapchat, that was like, you remember me telling you, like, I had loads of threats and stuff through there.
Yeah.
So how come there's an app which has disappearing messages that the police can't find?
I just don't feel we're regulating the online space properly, and I know there's been this huge controversy about the online harms bill, and, you know, whatever happens when any politician says, yeah, I've heard a call from victims and we need to regulate the online space more, what you get is a backlash from big techs. But I personally don't think they meet their obligations when it comes to, you know...
Making accounts and stuff.
Yeah, you know, criminal activity in their space. I don't think they're even close to stepping up to what their obligations should be to keep people safe on their platforms.
Yeah. So, last question. If you was Prime Minister or in the position to put these things into place, what would you have done differently if you was in, like, Keir Starmer's position?
I would obviously say to all politicians in Westminster, you know, the issue is you've got to go through the process of facing up fully and as quickly as possible, because that is the quickest route to protecting children. So it's credit to you and others who are prepared to make things better for kids coming after you. And I'm pretty confident. Nothing's going to be perfect ever, but I think this country is going to be a safer country for kids as a result of the work you're doing.
I feel like I was always a cheeky kid.
Yeah, but
in a nice way,
likeable.
though. Yeah, like all the teachers used to love me.
Yeah, you winged it every time.
Like I was liked everywhere I went.
Your personality changed rapid, really, really quick.
Yeah, it was like overnight, wasn't it?
It was literally overnight, and even though you weren't the easiest kid when you were younger, but you had character, and you kind of winged it with your humour, and then that disappeared really quick, and then you became really verbally aggressive, but then that changed to physical within a couple of weeks, and that, which you never ever done before, which I knew then something drastic's happening here.
Yeah, because of the change overnight.
Yeah.
I've had, like, even though, like, this is a dad and daughter, was kind of in the same situation as in, like, family don't understand, we don't speak to certain family members now. Like, my friends are all at uni, you know, everyone's at different stages of what I am. Like, I'm still trying to catch up from everything that was taken away from me. And then I feel like with you, obviously, it's just the impact that this grooming had, and it's just caused issues in the long run with family, friends, social life, everything. It gives you anxiety as well, like depression, everything stems from it.
With anxiety and depression through this, definitely. But what I want to say, even though you didn't go to university, and I'm really sad that you've missed that opportunity, where you are now, I am so proud of you on a different level. Sorry. Because you come so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
So, stuff university, you'll always... You're bright naturally. You are bright. But this moment now, compared to how you looked at 14, 15, 17, you've just come so far.
Mm. There's so many girls. There's more than you realise. Like, everyone's story is different, and like, it just proves how these groomers get you. Just made you not feel alone. Like, it's not just happened to you.